Cool. All right. So we're recording. So yeah, we're going to go over ads, specifically Facebook ads, YouTube ads, native ads, emails, all of that to show you exactly how to write ads that get 2 to 3 times the conversion rate of most normal ads that you see out there. And there's a really specific formula for this. We're going to show you a bunch of different examples, break them down. Before we hop into that, Stefan, let's you and I do a little intro of each other for the people who don't know us. So I'll give you a little background on Stefan. So Stefan is the guy I consider to be the #1 copywriter in the world right now. I think he's written more offers that are converting on cold traffic than anyone else in probably the last 5-6 years. And that's kind of really how I measure copywriters. Like if you're writing stuff that's working on cold traffic, you absolutely have chops. There's no denying that. And I think Stefan has that probably more than anyone else out there right now. So Stefan's also built not only a copywriter, but also has built his own company. Has built multiple companies. His one supplement company got to 23 million in sales. He's really damn good at picking out a lot of angles and mechanisms and copy that just flows really well. It's one thing I've actually really learned a lot from Stefan is watching how good he is at writing short, kind of punchy sentences that just make you keep reading. It's like really damn hard to not keep reading it. So yeah, I would say that's a little about Stefan. I think he lives in San Diego now.
Yeah.
You keep moving around.
Yeah.
So I'll let you give a little intro of me.
Yeah, let me do it. Where to begin with this guy? So Justin Goff is obviously my partner in the Copy Accelerator Mastermind. He's a brilliant marketer. He started out with his own offer actually and realized he could make money, but then ended up partnering with 4 Patriots and helped them to scale to also $23 million in a single year, which is a complete coincidence and kind of funny that's the number we both hit. But since then, Justin has gone on to become one of the premier, I guess you would say, like funnel and conversion optimizers. I mean, he's a brilliant copywriter. He had like the best control for 4 Patriots ever. I've told the story before, but Alan hired me to do a beat your control and gave me 3 options. And one of them was from Justin. And he basically told me the list of copywriters who had tried to beat this control of Justin's before. And it was like the most legendary copywriters you've ever heard of. I'm like legendary, like indisputable A-list, and like none of them had beat it. And I was like, I am also not going to do that one. I'm like, oh. I was like, let me try a different one because it was so good. I'm like, I can't beat that copy. Justin, was so good. But he's brilliant at the full funnel, looking at all these ways to increase conversions and AOVs. He's great with like everything from the front end copy to like checkouts to upsells to adding, increasing the conversion rate on upsells. He's an awesome teacher, and he's the creator of these Zebra ads, which when he first said it, I was like, Zebra ads, I don't get it. The first time he told me about it. And then he kind of walked me through it, and it was like, oh yeah, that's actually like really brilliant and amazing. And so I love what we're about to teach you guys. I'm so happy to have Justin as a partner, and he's just an amazing partner in a business. And yeah, I can't wait here.
Awesome. Cool. So we got 204 people now. Everybody's filing in now. Awesome. So I'm going to share my screen and we will hop right in on the Zebra ads presentation. So for the people who are in Copy Accelerator, we actually presented this content on the members only day, I think, at our last event.
I can't remember what day we did it, but yeah, I think it was at the members only day.
Yeah. So there's been a few additions to it, but even if you've seen it already, honestly, great training to go through again because you're going to pick up things this time around that you didn't pick up before. All right. So let's break down what are Zebra ads. So the whole idea behind Zebra ads are that regular ads blend in. There's basically too many of them. People are seeing ads all day long in their email inbox, on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere. The difference with the Zebra ad is that it stands out. It gets attention. You can't miss it. So you want to make your ad more like a Zebra. So there's really 3 fundamentals of a good Zebra ad, and it's attention, hook them, basically hook their interest, and then get the click. Nothing like mind-blowing there, but if you can hit those 3 things, you're doing pretty damn good. And really what this talk is really going to be about is the 4 kinds of Zebra ads that we see work over and over again. And these work across all platforms. So email, native ads, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, pretty much anywhere you're going to be running ads. These are the four that we kind of go to over and over again because they just consistently work over and over again. So there's no need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to ads and what angles you want to use when these ones just consistently work over and over and over again. Stefan, I'm not watching the chat, so feel free to, if anything comes up that we need to address, let's do that.
Okay, we'll do. Not yet. Besides, I think it was Jeremy Reed said maybe we should get pet zebras to remember. So,
so we're gonna start with an emotional story ad. So an emotional story ad is usually a story about the person or a story about one of your customers, something like that, where you're kind of telling how they went from zero to hero kind of story. How it usually starts out like they're in some kind of bad place and then they fight through all this struggle and then they come out good on the other side. This is really what every movie is based on. Every good movie that makes a bunch of money and that people love is really based on this kind of journey and this emotional story. So the same thing can be used in ads. The one we're going to show you here on YouTube is from Chris Evans and Taylor Welch. Hold on, I'll play that again. Who run Traffic and Funnels, and we'll show you. I think I got it. You guys can hear the volume. But we'll watch like the first part of it, and you get a good idea of how the emotional story works here.
We've given you a 40-cent raise, Peyton. Congratulations. I can still picture that exact moment when my boss said those exact words to me for the last time. It's easy to picture. It was right over there. Right? I just graduated from the University of Memphis, and I was stuck in this dead-end retail job that I took as a temporary gig, 4 years earlier. So I still hadn't figured out how to replace that much needed income. At the time, my days looked pretty average. I would wake up at 7 when the alarm clock told me it was time to go to work. I would hit snooze 5 or 6 times until I remembered, oh wait, I can't afford to quit yet. That's right. And then I would drag myself here around 8 a.m. to prep the store. Sure, I knew I could do so much better with my time, and I never pictured myself turning into, one of these typical 9-to-5 drones. But the job was easy. It was mindless too. The pay was normally good enough to get by. Honestly, though, if you told me that I was 21 days away from earning more money than a neurosurgeon, working on my own schedule, part-time, from anywhere with a cell phone, I probably would have called you crazy. No, I definitely would have called you crazy. There I was, right in the store. It was past 8 in the morning. I was folding shirts in this exact section next to the main entrance, right? My boss, his name was Hank. He shuffled his penguin-like frame right through the door. And like any other day, he was wearing these dirty khakis, dirty New Balances. It looked like he had been breathing that recycled retail store air for the past 40 years or so. Gather around, you peppercorns. We've got a raise to celebrate. I don't even know what a peppercorn is to this day. I didn't know back then. I don't know now. He continued, right? This guy's put in 1,800 hours of hard work. He's got great customer reviews. I want y'all to follow his example. Peyton, congratulations. 40 cents. That's your raise. I cracked like this half smile, right? But I can't really remember. But what I do remember, I was looking around at my coworkers while they clapped. They all looked dead, like totally absent. Probably living in some far off land where they weren't trading their soul for $14 an hour. I got home that night feeling like I'd come out of a coma, like I'd finally come to after living on autopilots for months. I still remember lying awake. I was looking up at the ceiling fan above me. And I thought to myself over and over, 40.
All right, so we're not going to go through the whole thing because we've got a bunch of ads to get through, but just watching that part, you should kind of get a sense of how an emotional story ad works. It's a very personal, detailed story, and most of it starts in what we call the pain. So he's talking about all the pain, all the frustration, all the crappiness that goes on with working this retail job and what his daily life is like and how miserable he is. You have to start with that part because the people they're selling this to, that is what they're going to identify with. That's because that's what they feel right now. If you start further along and you're more into the kind of, here's the end, here's the salvation, here's me making a bunch of money at this new job, nobody can relate to that. So you have to start at kind of the lowest point, at rock bottom. And that's what this one does really good. And it's also one thing that's really important with emotional stories is not just telling all the details, but talking about the specific moment. So this specific moment is all about the raise. It's about the 40-cent raise. it's not just like an ongoing story of like everything that happened. It's like that specific moment is kind of when everything hits for him. So that's a couple of things I want to point out. Stefan, anything you want to add?
Yeah. So, and he starts it in the middle of the action with that line, right? That paid in, like, you got 40-cent raise, congratulations. And then he goes back and tells the story in the whole buildup, right? And comes back and then goes back to that line and repeats it and then hits you with all of this emotion. So he's starting kind of in the middle of the action. And that's something that you should really take away, whether it's for creating ads like this one, but even with your leads and things like that in copy. We see this so often, Justin, where even good writers sort of start, like, if you started with like, it was at this job and I was doing this, and even the stuff about the peppercorns, which was kind of interesting, but like it wouldn't be as good as him starting with that line that just grabs your attention. And then he goes back and then tells a story and leads back to that moment. So even with a good lead, if you, for a sales letter, start in the middle of the action, then go back and tell the background story that leads back to the action, and then close the loop and keep going. And this ad does a really good job of that. And the emotion is just so good on it. Once it's like, I was kind of like whatever about it. I mean, I was captivated in the beginning, but then with his story, but then when he comes back to that and the dead eyes that are far away and the 40, and it hit so well. So I love the way that they do that. That's really, really good.
Yep. I think it's a really good example of the emotional story ad. And this, from what I know, that one's kicking ass for them. So let's look at a couple different examples. Here's one in a Facebook ad. This is from Ryan Levesque, selling a consulting course or some type of consulting thing. So you got a picture of him in this hospital bed, which is obviously really grabs your attention. That's definitely part of it. So it says consulting burnout. Yeah, it's a thing. In fact, my consulting business put me into the hospital. My schedule was insane. I was on the phone 10 to 12 hours a day, jumping from client to client until finally one day my body collapsed. I rushed to the emergency room and learned that my body had slipped into a state called DKA. So I don't have the rest of the ad, but just wanted to show you that because it's a great kind of start to what is an emotional story ad. Anybody who does consulting can empathize with this. Even like copywriters who are working a shitload will probably empathize with it. Getting hassled all the time by clients, phone ringing when you're trying to eat dinner and trying to hang out with your family, like, it's a real thing with consulting. So I think anybody would really kind of just that first part right there, empathize with this. Steph, anything in the chat?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's funny because Gerline put up a post in Justin Stuff and Talk Copy about burnout. I think it was just yesterday. And then a bunch of people were like, I can relate to that. And then here we are seeing, this ad. So yeah, I think it's something that's super relatable to everybody.
Definitely. So here's one I shared in my email this morning. This is from the golf niche. A little different emotional story. This is not as much about a zero to hero story, but more of like an underdog story. So it's from this company called Graves Golf. So this is actually a really long one. I'll try to read the whole thing. So it says, the greatest ball striker ever. Some people have called Mo Norman the greatest ball striker ever. Although the PGA never got to see Mo's greatness come to fruition, it may be true. However, over the years, the Mo Norman single plane swing has been somewhat of a mystery. How does it work? Why does it work so well? And why aren't more pros using this method? But what some of you may be thinking is, if Mo Norman was so great, why didn't he win a ton of majors? And the answer is simple. The PGA didn't want him on their tour. It's true. Back in the 50s and 60s, when Mo rewriting the golf record books in Canada, there's a lot of talk about him coming to the U.S. and going up against the likes of Hogan, Nelson, Arnie, and Jack. Those are all famous golfers for people who don't know. But according to sources, the PGA didn't like Mo's antics. He was bigger than life and acted that way. For example, sometimes during tournaments, he'd hit drivers off 6-inch tees and soda bottles, or play par 4 holes backwards, hitting a wedge off the tee. And soon the stuffed shirts on the PGA Tour let him know how they felt. And he basically stopped playing competitively in the States. Too bad. It would have been great to see. After all, this is a guy who during his career sank 17 holes in one, posted 3 scores of 59, shot 61 4 times, had 9 double eagles, and set over 30 course records. So that's all pretty like amazing stuff that any golfer would be like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So what was the secret? How did this shy, self-taught Canadian shoot such unbelievable scores? And what can you learn from this simple, no baloney method? During one of his clinics, Mo hit 1,540 drivers in a little over 7 hours. But the most amazing part is the balls landed within 15 yards of each other. That's right, 15 yards. So how can one person swing so consistently for more than 7 hours and 1,500 shots? Easy. He just made the exact same swing over and over. And so can you. It's easier than you think. Here's the link. So a couple things I love about this, like it is a true kind of like underdog story. Like this guy, the whole PGA doesn't want him. The pros looking down their nose at him. He's kind of this guy from the other side of the tracks. And yet he's out there like dominating and getting holes in one and shooting in the 50s, which is insane for a golfer. Yeah, so it's just a really great, like, almost like this unknown guy. It's like the unknown guru kind of angle. And it works really, really well in a lot of niches. Like I've seen it work in dating. It obviously works here in golf. I've seen it work with health stuff. Financial, it works a lot. This kind of like underground guy who's making these stock picks that's just crushing it. And Wall Street's pissed at him and blah, blah, blah. So it's a really kind of proven angle here. It's not as emotional of a story as kind of some of the other ones we looked at, but it really kind of gets into that underdog and revenge kind of story.
Yeah. And then like you mentioned the credibility factor, which is so good because all the stuff with the 17 hole in ones, the 3 scores of 59, shot 61 4 times. But yeah, and even the contrarian, there's almost a contrarian aspect too. I mean, it was like going back to the underdog, that person who sort of, you know, he wasn't celebrated, like you said, by the PGA Tour people, and yet he's like this, he's like an anti-hero almost, right? And there's that like theme is something that people really relate to. So I really like that aspect of this ad too.
Yep. Cool. So before we get going, pop in the chat. Has this been helpful for you guys so far? Kind of seeing these different examples from different niches and YouTube, Facebook, all that. I can't see the chat, so
yeah, it's blowing up with yes, helpful, yes, yes.
Awesome.
Now I know something about golf. Super. Love the examples, Justin, and the variety. Yeah, a lot of yeses.
Sweet. So let's look at one here that Kevin Rogers has for his copy chief stuff. This one could go into the emotional stuff a little more, but it does definitely relate with a lot of copywriters. So it says, as a copywriter, I've always been haunted by copy monsters, the blank white page, the creeping deadlines, the uncertainty of knowing, will the client like it? Will the copy actually convert? I knew if I were going to make it as a freelance copywriter, I had to write faster first drafts without getting stuck in writer's block. That's why I created the 4x6 copywriting system. Then it gives you a link. It's a simple copywriting system with just 10 index cards, an easy to use framework that ensures your copy has everything it needs to make the sale. Then it kind of just gives you a little more info about what you can use it on: emails, ads, landing pages, blah, 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 blah. You get the whole thing for $7. Like I said, this one I would say is a little more watered down with the emotion. Like it's not a real hard hitting one, but those first, I don't know, 5 or 6 lines probably empathize with a lot of copywriters, which is staring at the white page, the deadline coming up, worrying about whether or not the client likes it, all that stuff. Definitely any copywriter will relate.
Yeah, and there's the implied promise too of like I had to write faster first drafts, and then, but even and I like the term copy monsters too. I think that's a really like memorable, unique term for like the demons that haunt us as copywriters, and then you're listing them out. So I don't know. I just like that term copy monsters quite a bit. And even the promise, Justin, just a quick note on it. This isn't emotional, but like, you know, to his credit, the promise of basically the 4x6 copywriting system, right? It's like just 10 index cards and like a framework. I mean, there's a great promise there from Kevin too, of after the emotion, like how simple, you know, you can just 10 index cards could solve all these problems and slay your monsters and everything. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
you're right, Simama.
Very important part of why that offer works. So this next one is an email. It was actually written by Alec, who's a Copy Accelerator member. So this is for a health offer. So it says, doctors can consider you diabetic if your hemoglobin A1C is over 6.4. Tom Schrauz was an 8.4. He was on 4 different kinds of medications, suffered from acid reflux, gouty arthritis, obstructive sleep apnea, allergies, carpal tunnel, and he weighed 309 pounds. Tom knew something needed to change, but according to his doctor, his diabetes wasn't something he could fix. It was something he'd have to live with and do his best to manage it over time. That killed Tom because Tom hated what diabetes had done to his life, that he had to constantly turn down food every time he'd go to a party, that he would constantly feel tired, heavy, and bloated, that every person around him would try to give him advice on his disease. That line I fucking love. It's probably one of my favorite lines in this piece, because everyone with diabetes probably feels like that. People are always giving them unsolicited advice. So continue on. Telling him he just needed to stop eating sugar and get some more exercise so he could lose weight. It drove him nuts, which is why even though his doctor told him it was a waste of time, he didn't stop looking for something that could help him. Eventually, Tom stumbled on something called the primal diet, aka paleo, where you only eat the things humans could have thousands of years ago. Tom didn't expect a whole lot, but once he changed his eating, it was like a switch had been flipped. He says, type 2 diabetes was gone within a month. After 4 months, my A1C is now at 5.1. I also eliminate acid reflux, the arthritis, sleep apnea, allergies, plantar fasciitis, carpal tunnel, blah, 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 a bunch of other stuff. I used to get sick 3 or 4 times per year, but I have not been sick since going primal, and I'm down to 0 prescription medications too. Can you believe that? His health completely flipped just by changing the way he ate. So if you suffer from diabetes like Tom did, you'll want to see the amazing discovery made by researchers at the Harvard of the UK who are able to reverse diabetes in 25 out of 26 cases without drugs or injections, 100% naturally, at the cost of pennies a week. Dr. Ron Taylor of Newcastle University will share how burning 1 pound of fat from a specific part of your body can help flip the switch to reverse diabetes and reshape your body. And there's the link. So this is a really good example of, like I was saying, they start in the pain and the horror and the nightmare story and talk about how bad Tom's life was. Then it has a bunch of stuff here that people with diabetes would definitely relate to, all the stuff he kind of feels. And then Tom's basically getting fed up. He's looking for answers. He stumbles on paleo diet, and then he doesn't expect a whole lot. And then he gets really good results. It's pretty simple. I would have maybe added a little more, like make it a little more difficult. Like he struggled for a week, he struggled for 2 weeks or something like that to make it can't be too easy, because when it's like too easy, like people are actually kind of like let down. They want to see the person struggle a little bit, or maybe you tried like 3 other things and then this is the one that worked. But other than that, I think this is a great email, and I know it's been working for months and months and months, if not over a year. They're still mailing this very regularly, so great example.
Yeah. And then Joey asked, Harvard UK must be Cambridge or Oxford. Is St. Harvard of the US stronger, better for US based customers to understand? I'm not exactly sure on the second part of that, Joey, but like basically, yeah, we talked about this, I think, during our members day at the Copy Starter event too. And essentially one cool thing you can do for, you find a university in Barcelona or Italy. It's like, oh, it's like the Harvard of Spain, or like the Princeton of Italy or whatever, I mentioned like the Harvard of, I talk about Copy Starter, like our event. It's like Harvard Business School. You know what I mean? Because like it kind of is. But basically, yeah, it's a good way to do it. And this one is Newcastle because it's Dr. Ron Taylor, who the guy's actually really cool if you ever look him up. But yeah, it's a good way to leverage that without having, because if you're like, oh, a breakthrough study out of like the whatever random university nobody's heard of in Barcelona. But if you're like, it's basically out of the Harvard of Barcelona or the Harvard of Spain, it's like immediately that credibility gets transferred over to it. So that's why it's really valuable. And then if you have, in the U.S., if you have Harvard, sure. But obviously you can't say like, it's weird if you're like the University of Texas, which is like the Harvard of the U.S., like that doesn't make sense, right? But for international kind of universities, it's a cool way to do those comparisons and increase credibility.
Cool. So we're still on the emotional story angles. This is some examples of native ads that I've seen use kind of emotional story. And obviously with like native stuff, it's going to be a very short description that you're just trying to get the click. So this one is for a financial product. These usually run, if you want to see these, just go on Yahoo Finance and you'll see these all over the place. So California man makes 2.8 million trading from home. Kyle Dennis was 80K in debt when he decided to invest every penny to his name in the stock market. 2.8 million later, he owes his success to one strategy. That's a really good job of telling a story in like 2 sentences. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to dig like way into the pain and all the points that people relate with. It's more like, here's where he was at, here's where he's at now, and here's how he did it. And you just say that really quickly in 2 sentences. Great job at that. The one down here, Kind of similar. Man who predicted rise of Amazon has new prediction. So it says he called the bottom of stocks in 2009 and recommended Amazon before it went on to soar 1,500%. Now he has a surprising new prediction for 2020. So a lot of curiosity in this, but also some good storytelling there and some credibility in there as well.
Yeah, Justin, two things I want to chime in on here. One would be, one person had asked, Robin had said, like, oh, well, how could you say that they tried other things first? Or you're just making up stories, blah, blah, blah. And the answer is like, I'm not sure if Alec, that's a made up story or not. But like, first of all, assuming it's not, like, one thing when you're telling a story, and I talk about this with the mechanism of stuff too, it's very rare that anyone you talk to, like whatever solution you're offering, that was the first solution they tried, right? If you're selling a weight loss or a diabetes thing, it's really unlikely that they're like, well, I've never tried to manage my diabetes before, but I'll give it a shot. I'm 45 years old. It's like they've tried 20 different things. So when it's a real story, it's just drawing that out from somebody, right? Like finding out what those things are. And then if it's, not a real story, then I think, I don't know if it is or not, but I always I go back to advertising, and I use an example of if you watch like a Cox cable ad and like the family's all together watching cable and talking about how like the cable brought their family closer together. Is that a real person in a real story? And do they say, this is an advertisement from Cox? Like they don't, right? So, I mean, I think you can use disclaimers and things like that, but like the idea of like people get so weird about made up stories. And I think if you're doing it, you can still do that in an ethical way. And then on the native side of things, someone asked what is native, and that's an example of what Justin just showed. And so, if you go to weather.com, if you're in the US, that's one that I always go to. And you go down, it's like promoted content or from around the web. And you'll see stuff like I did one yesterday for United, like pet health or something. And they have like advertorial to a pet VSL. So, and somebody else asked, do those ads work? And the answer to that is yeah, for sure. I know I have one friend who does about 70 million a year. We'll do about 70 million this year in revenue. And it's pretty much all on native. They don't run on Facebook or anywhere else. So yeah, native works quite well.
So just to chime in, this story was a true story. It was not like a customer story, but it was one that I think Alec found on Reddit, which is one of the things Stefan teaches in the Copy Accelerator group, is how to use forums and Reddit and stuff to get stories that you can use in your emails and your ads and stuff like that. So we just went over emotional stories. The next one that works really well for the Zebra ads are topical news. So anything that is on your prospect's mind that you see kind of going on. A lot of the examples we're going to have in this are political, because especially in America, that is what's on everybody's mind right now. If this was last year or the year before, not so much, but we have an election coming up in, 2 months. So tons of stuff that are politics, especially in like the financial niche, where everything kind of money and politics is very closely related. They tend to tap into that a lot. So we'll show you some examples. So 5G stuff is also, this one's kind of a double topical one, because 5G's really been in the news lately, talking about how big it can expand, and talking about stuff with China, and talking about whether or not it's actually safe, and is there issues with 5G. So this email does a really good job of tapping into both of that. So it says, the Trump administration just unveiled a new 5G fast plan. Trump's 5G plan is opening the floodgates to 3 million new jobs, 12.3 trillion in economic growth, and a brand new 5G device. Big picture of Trump there. One of the world's top angel investors, a tech genius named Jeff Brown, believes the company behind this device is the number one tech stock of 2020. It'll go from zero to nearly 100 billion in sales this year. Warning, this presentation may be banned at any moment. Watch now before you lose your chance for good, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, the copy on this is not that great. It could be a lot better. They could have thrown in a lot more proof. They could have thrown in a lot more curiosity, but they do a great job of tapping into the topical news stuff with Trump and the 5G.
Chris Dixon asked, can you use any images? I know. I mean, it depends, right? For email, you can get away with a lot more, but it also just depends on who you are and what your objectives are and things like that. Like if you're like generally on email, you're not getting into huge issues using like, an image of somebody or person. If you try to run that ad on, Facebook or native, and you're using celebrities and selling stuff, you'll probably get a cease and desist and be told to stop doing it. But generally, with email, you can have a lot more flexibility with that kind of stuff.
I would say it also definitely really depends on the company and the size of the company. So like someone like Golden Hippo that's a huge company and regulators would love to take them down. Probably a lot more conservative on that type of thing than someone who's a $5 million company and nobody knows who the hell they are. That stuff matters a lot.
Huge point. And then in celebrity, it depends on celebrity too. Like when I did CBD, we had we talked about Jake Plummer and David Wallace, who both use CBD, but we got cease and desist from both of them. So like, but even then they're like, hey, stop using our client's name. And we were like, okay. And we actually offered to pay David Wallace, but they're like, no, he doesn't like CBD unless it has a lot of THC in it too. David Wallace is a pitcher for the Yankees, but yeah. So.
All right, so here's another one from Alex Ramosi. He sells to gym owners, teaches them how to basically make their gyms more profitable. And he ran this ad for a while, basically just piggybacking on Trump's Make America Great Again with Make Gyms Great Again. He's wearing his Make Gyms Great Again hat. So he's literally, there's nothing special about this ad, but he's literally just tapping into something that's on people's mind. Especially for his demographic, which is pretty much all men. And a lot of them probably are Trump supporters, so it's probably a good fit for that as well. Another one, this is from the financial niche. This came out end of last year, so like right now this would not work. But the subject line, meet your next president, the female Obama. Great subject line. And this is going to a very conservative audience, so that type of thought will drive them up a wall and just bursting with anger. So if you look at the copy here, it very much just kind of just stirs the pot with all the anger that they know they're gonna feel when they read this. So you'll never believe who one expert believes will become president in 2020. It's not Hillary, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, or even Michelle Obama. It's someone even worse. And if she wins, she'll take away our freedoms and destroy our economy. So if you were put off by Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign or couldn't believe how popular Bernie Sanders' socialist platform was, just wait. This 2020 candidate will out-liberal anything you've ever seen. A new, incredibly powerful hidden force will practically guarantee that she wins. And the steps she'll take during her first 100 days in office will send our nation into one of the worst financial crises in history, creating a nightmare for baby boomers. Get the full story right here. So that is just stirring up all the fear and anger and everything these people in this market are going to feel when they kind of read that. It's a great example of really just tapping into the deep emotional stuff that's going on in people and connecting that with the topical news story.
What's funny too, like Justin, is people are guessing in chat like, oh, Kamala, looks like Kamala Harris, but that's the point that you're guessing. I mean, you're like, oh, well, I guess I got to click and find out, right? So that's where like just having that kind of like the curiosity side. Topical was also that curiosity side because you're like, you know, you just have to know, and so you click for that reason alone.
Yep. All right, so we went over emotional stories and we went over topical news. So
Justin, real quick, sorry, one more thing I want to add. Going back to like the topical stuff, because I know in the original Zebra ads we had like the "Make Your Gym Great Again" or whatever ad it was that we talked about in Vegas, and even Michael Roshin, who's on here, and he's posted about it. He did like for like a joint offer, and like he had like two subject lines, and one I forget what one was, but the other one was like "Make Your Back Great Again" or something like that, and that "Make Your Back Great Again" for the email subject line, it did like 2 or 3x what the other one did. And in fact, it got sent out today too, and increased conversion significantly. And it's for an offer I own, so I'm very happy Michael did that. But that's the difference, right? 2 emails, one had like a topical subject line, one didn't. The topical one is legitimately 3x the other one. So just even leveraging topical stuff can be really don't underestimate the value of that.
Yep, good point. So yeah, we went over emotional stories and we went over topical stuff. So let's look at curiosity-based ones. This is actually an email. This is from the financial niche. So the subject line is "Retire Rich on one $3 stock." That's really a great email line, especially with like the question mark there, because it's not like a huge claim, but it does pique your curiosity. So it says, picture the perfect stock for a moment. What would it look like? No doubt it would have hundreds of billions in revenue, more than tech giants like IBM, Facebook, and Google. It would probably be a leader in cutting-edge technology like smartphones, robotics, e-commerce, and medical equipment. It would have tens of thousands of unbreakable patents. It would pay an enormous dividend. It would be on the verge of dozens of blockbusters announcements that would send the stock higher and higher. And most of all, it would trade ultra cheap, less than $3. Seems crazy that such a stock exists, but it does. And you've likely never heard of it. Why? Because it trades under a secret name. Seriously, it's true. My colleague, stock picking legend Alexander Green, just gave the most shocking live presentation regarding this perfect stock. He says this single stock alone could pay for your retirement. Go see it for yourself here. Great example of a curiosity play. Probably one of my favorite emails I've seen in a while. Just really kind of whetting your appetite and just piquing that curiosity over and over and over and over again all throughout the email. And you really just kind of want to know what the stock is.
Yeah, the thing about trading under a secret name is super interesting too. You're like, what? Like under a secret name? Like, how does that work? I
Right.
love that part.
I would assume it's probably like it does business as a different name kind of type. Like that's all it is, but they made it sound a lot sexier than that. That's probably what it is. So let's look at this one. This is an email from, I can't remember who wrote this. I think Joel Marion might have wrote it. The subject line is brilliant. It immediately grabs your attention. So 71-year-old woman poops out 48 pounds of stored fat using this unusual nutrient. So a shocking study done on an island in Japan reveals that most people who ate a certain dairy-based nutrient were able to poop out more fat. Instead of your body turning all that food you eat into stubborn rolls of fat, it could just slide out quickly and easily in the bathroom. Imagine not having to go to the gym to burn off fat, or starving yourself on horrible diets that deprive you of the foods you really love, and instead pooping that fat out. You can effortlessly stay thin and healthy. One woman named Sharon already lost 48 pounds. She went on to reach her dream of being a national dancing champion at 71. Another lost 10 dress sizes, and still another lost 38 pounds and has a body that is 20 years younger. See if pooping out fat could help you too. Such a great email. Just loaded with curiosity. For anybody that's like curious about this is all certain dairy-based this is literally just a probiotic. So that's literally what this is. They've just done a really good job though of making it very, very interesting and just digging that knife into your curiosity over and over again.
I want to point out, Justin, something really important with the images that is used there. It's a really good curiosity-inducing image. And the images are really important for a lot of emails. They get kind of underrated sometimes, but they can increase the click-through rate dramatically. But another important thing is like that image is kind of gross and weird, and you're like, what is it? But it's not so gross, because one mistake that people make sometimes with their images too is like with this one, if it was like a stock photo of a woman with her arms crossed on the toilet looking angry, like that wouldn't necessarily be like the right photo, right? You'd just be like, oh, it's a stock photo. And if you had a gross picture of like poop, then people would be like, yeah, and they'd like complain and mark it as spam and not like, that wouldn't be good either. So it's really about, because people do that. I've seen people go for like really gross out photos and like, yeah, that'll get someone's attention, but they're gonna be like, why am I receiving this? And they're gonna complain, mark it as spam, delete, unsubscribe, all that kind of stuff. So finding a balance with your video or with your images is really important. And then as some people have pointed out, yeah, exactly. Put the play button on there, especially for a VSL. I used to do it every single time for my creatives when I do more text sales letters now, but especially when I did more VSLs. For every creative image, I had the Google play button just saved. So I just take whatever image it was, and then I would just take the play button and copy paste, overlay it on top of the image. That increases the click-through rate dramatically. So I would do that. It does work for text sales letters too, like Justin just said. I have one where I'll use a button that says like it says like read more or find out more, but it then has a button, a play button, but then I don't want to make them annoyed when they click on it. So that's what I do. But yeah, I just want to talk about the image because it's super important.
Awesome. So let's move on. We got a YouTube ad here. I can't remember which one this is, but I'll pull it up.
Hear it over and over from investors. I wish I had bought Amazon or Netflix when they were first recommended by the Motley Fool. I'd be sitting on a gold mine. And it's true. If you had invested in Amazon when we sent a buy alert at $15.31 per share, you'd be up 12,000%. Or if you had invested in Netflix when we recommended it at $1.85 per share, you'd be up 18,000%. And while Amazon and Netflix have had a good run, we think these 5 other stocks are screaming buys. And you can buy them now for less than $49 a share. You can grab a copy of 5 growth stocks under $49 for free for a limited time only. And don't look back 5 years from now regretting that you failed to act. Simply click to enter your email, and we'll send you your 5 free stock picks directly to your inbox.
So pretty basic ad there. But it does a good job, I would say, of just kind of teasing that curiosity and what the 5 stock picks are. It gives you a little credibility and proof with them picking Amazon and picking Netflix and showing you how well those did. So yeah, very, like I said, very simple, very basic, but does a good job with the curiosity.
And there's a little bit of that FOMO too. Like somebody even mentioned FOMO in there, but that's how the financial promo is just all about that FOMO.
I'm going to skip that one. Here's a Facebook one from Healthy Back Institute. 2 things on this, both the copy and the picture. The picture is really what makes it by far. I mean, it's just a great, great picture that really just piques your curiosity. So many people are unaware that one protein present in certain foods like tomatoes can cause inflammation. This one tiny mesh-like protein called fibrin can be the culprit behind arthritis and joint pain, along with other health issues. Click here to learn how to steer clear of this protein. Facebook makes you actually like reveal what it is, so you can't just keep it super blind. Otherwise, you would obviously keep it more blind so that you get more clicks. But for a Facebook compliant ad, I think this does a really good job of dialing up that curiosity. Here's another one from Native Ads. So it says, celebrity trainer unveils new way to stay strong for aging Americans. And then just got this old guy doing a pretty crazy ass exercise plank there that most people can't do. So yeah, just pure curiosity here. Same thing here. Gut doctor, I beg Americans to throw out this vegetable now. Kind of a, you're not really sure what the hell you're looking at. It's obviously food. It kind of looks like potatoes, kind of looks like it could be something else. But yeah, it piques a lot of curiosity and you want to click on it. So for native, the curiosity stuff works really, really well because you're just trying to get that like instant click right away. Anybody questions before we move on to the last one?
You know, we had a lot of guesses about what type of image it was for Golden Hippo, but it's cooked garlic, said Patrick Mankins.
So also, so far, we've gone over 3 things. We've gone over the emotional story, we've gone over the topical news, and we've gone over the curiosity. Has this been helpful for you guys so far to see multiple examples of each one?
Again, lots of yeses. We still have people asking what a native ad is. I kind of explained it before though. So if you it's just like an ad on a website that looks like an article, but it's an ad. So what Justin just showed, those are both native ads. So Justin, if you just scroll back up for a second, or you want to, yeah, perfect. Go to weather.com. And someone asked what kind of people click on native ads. Is like anyone who's curious is your short answer. I mean, like, yeah, if you, sponsored content, it's going to load underneath that. Or if it just, of course, doesn't, because we're trying to show an example. There we go. Yeah, so these are all native ads right here that Justin's at. So that one from Ultimate Pet Nutrition, if you click on that one, it's going to take you to an advertorial. And then from an advertorial, it takes you to VSL. I think this one might be owned by Golden Hippo, but I know if you look at they've been at several million unique visitors a month for an extended period of time with this offer and with a couple of their offers. These people are just killing it in the pet niche, right? So it goes to advertorial, click on the video, go to VSL. So, it's direct response, but you're starting with that native ad, having a good image of a good headline, usually going to an advertorial, because usually from a website like weather.com or Forbes has native ads, all that kind of stuff, Huffington Post, you name it. But generally, if you're going to go to like a VSL, they want their user experience to not be so abrupt. So that's why you go to like an advertorial first and write that stuff.
Just for anybody interested, there's really 2 versions of native ads. There's this, which is the more cleaner stuff on higher quality websites. Then there's lower quality ones that will let you just run whatever the hell you want. You don't have to run advertorials. You can run for ED pills. Like, they don't give a shit. As long as you're paying them money, they'll take it. So, but if you want on the higher quality websites like weather.com and Forbes and ESPN and stuff, they'll make you run a little cleaner stuff.
Yeah, good point. People said, do they both convert? As in, do both types? Yeah, both convert, but it just depends. Like, I mean, native's like a big thing, right? It's massive. It's a multi-billion dollar advertising platform and network. Different higher tiered places can do better. Like, if you go on the homepage of Yahoo News, they have ads on there. And that was, at least, I don't know if it still is, but it was through Yahoo Gemini, which was their native network. I remember Jason Kutasi got it so that there's a loophole where one of our like ED pills was able to be on the homepage of Yahoo for like 3 or 4 days until they caught on. And we were just doing like 1,000 plus sales a day. I ran out of inventory because it was crazy. This offer went from doing like 100 sales a day to doing like 1,000 plus so fast. But I've also running on other platforms that are more obscure can too. But it comes down to targeting, where the ad's being served. Like you have exclusions and stuff like that. So like who's showing, who's not showing. Like it's usually, you're not going to individual websites. There's like networks generally that are going to supply like your native ads across a bunch of different properties that they manage, and then they'll show your ads on these different properties based on analytics and data about users. So, right, Justin and I both see that ultimate pet one on weather.com, but someone who's like a 22-year-old millennial who's not interested in it maybe wouldn't, or like a 70-year-old like it's usually dynamic, and the ads are being placed based on the right people. But if your copy's really dialed in, like the stuff that Justin talks about, the 1,000 buyer a day stuff and how you get there, right? If your offer is really dialed in, where almost anyone who goes has a chance of buying it, then maybe you can show it to more people, which means you get more clicks, which means ultimately you get more sales. And that means that you can then, that's how you get to 1,000 or 5,000, 10,000 sales a day, is by being able to convert at the broadest level. So not to make this into a native thing, but it's crazy. Native's totally undertapped and underloved for how valuable it is. It's just not as easy as Facebook. Facebook's super easy. Like you can put stuff on Facebook and get results really fast. Native takes more time.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely way more scale in native. You can scale it up a lot higher than you could on Facebook or any of the other sites. That's for sure. But as Stefan said, it also is a lot harder. All right, so let's look at the fourth one. So let's recap. We went over emotional stories. We went over topical news stuff, kind of tapping into what's in their mind, in their head, what they're hearing. We went over, what was the last one? Curiosity. So we went over those three. The last one is contrarian. And so the big thing with contrarian is you're saying the opposite of what everyone else out there is saying. So we'll look at this one from V-Shred. V-Shred's actually a member of the Copy Accelerator Mastermind. These guys crush it.
Pizza. Which one do you think I'm having for dinner tonight? Well, it's not this. It's definitely not this rabbit food. Why? Because this is going to do nothing but leave me craving this. All you have to do to lose weight and have the perfect body is to eat less. How many times have you heard that tired old lie? Want to lose weight? Go on an extremely low-calorie diet. Simple, right? Wrong. Losing weight does not mean always being hungry. Losing weight does not mean salads 3 times a day. And before you slam me with the whole, that's easy for you to say, this isn't about me. This is about the thousands of people worldwide that I've been fortunate enough to be able to help with.
So I'm not going to show the whole thing, but that first part is really the part I wanted you to see, because it taps into the going against the grain and using the contrarian angle. So everybody's telling them to eat less. Everyone's telling them to eat salads. And he's sitting there telling them, no, don't do that. I want you to do something else. So contrarian angles work really, really well. All you got to do is find the things that your market tends to believe, and then just show them that there's another way. So I'll show you a couple other examples. A lot of these examples are from the health niche, because I just pay attention to health more than anything else. This is for an email. So the subject line is what broccoli does to your brain, and the actual from name on it is avoid broccoli. So your grandma's been telling you for 50 years to eat broccoli, and now it's telling you to avoid broccoli. So there's 3 common foods that will destroy your memory. Eating these foods regularly could impact your memory, your mood, and even put you at an increased risk of a serious brain disease. Fortunately, there's a brand new free report showing you exactly which foods to avoid, and it's free for the rest of the day today. Get yours in just a few seconds here. The link says 3 foods that'll sabotage your memory, blah, blah, blah. Pretty basic. They're just going to this free report, kind of a lead gen kind of thing. But the big thing I want you to take away is just the contrarian angle of telling them to avoid broccoli, because they've heard for 40 years, 50 years, 60 years that broccoli is super healthy, and now they're telling you it's not. That's kind of how contrarian works. Let's look at this one. Avoid this kind of CBD. It doesn't work. So it says, Dear Justin, does CBD really work? 100% yes, says celebrated ND Dr. Scott Olson, but only if you use a very specific kind. According to Dr. Olson and confirmed by Penn Medicine News, 7 out of 10 CBD products are completely fake. They don't work, plain and simple, says Dr. Olson. In this short video, Dr. Olson shows you his only recommended source for getting pure medical quality CBD. He'll show you how to identify the right kind so you can avoid fake CBD, blah, 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 blah. So same thing, CBD, super hot topic, especially when this came out, which is probably closer to last year. Everybody's sending emails about CBD. People are seeing offers all the time about CBD. Everybody's wondering, does it actually work? It's on the cover of magazines. And this guy's saying, here's why you should avoid CBD. So just like I said, going against the grain. Like contrarian stuff is not complicated whatsoever. You just find the stuff that's popular and find a good angle to go against the grain. Let's look at one from BioTrust. So collagen is being touted as the greatest supplement to ever hit the market. It can do wonders for reducing wrinkles, strengthening hair and nails, supporting healthy pain-free joints, reducing cellulite, and even boosting metabolism and dropping those unwanted pounds. But did you know that most collagen supplements do not work at all? I mean, literally next to no benefit. We explain why here. Another great example of just collagen is huge. Ask any woman who's in her 30s, 40s, 50s if she sees collagen ads. She's seen them every single day. She sees them on Facebook. She sees them on YouTube. Sees them in her email inbox. They're all over the place. And collagen, like I said, is being touted as the greatest thing ever. And now they're coming back and basically saying, actually, most of them don't work, and here's why. But they're actually selling you a collagen supplement in this, and they're just kind of on the sales page going to go into why most collagen supplements don't work. And why theirs does work. So that's a great example of a contrarian ad. Steph, anything you want to add?
No, I mean, I'm loving it. I did mention stuff like I talked about broccoli and like how you could do like broccoli belly and like, you know, eating broccoli making you fat. And then I was saying you could even do like keto belly, right? Like, and talk like from name could be keto belly too. I mean, you can just take stuff that, you know, you're just inverting everything. I like broccoli belly more than keto belly, but even keto belly could be good. And you're like, oh, we've all sold the keto diet, but it's a big fat lie. And then not only is it a big fat lie, it can actually make you fat too. Like blah, blah. I mean, you can do all kinds of interesting contrarian stuff. So contrarian never gets old. Think about everyone in your Facebook newsfeed who loves like conspiracy angles or who's super contrarian about everything, you know? And like those people are going to love every single email that sees that because they're like, oh, I knew it. I told you, you know, like some people just love they just live for contrarian stuff. So I personally love contrarian ads. They're super fun.
So let's look at this next one in kind of the marketing biz op niche. Russ Rufino, it says, build an amazing website, they said. The clients will come rushing in. Write a weekly blog. Better yet, do a guest blog. Give away your best stuff. Post on social media 8 times per day. And I love this one. Just be authentic. All that just to earn $0 back. All that time and money wasted. If you're like most business owners, you're thinking, I started my business so I could help people, not to waste time blogging or building my audience. Most business owners feel like an island all by themselves with no real support when it comes to this marketing stuff. You're great at what you do, have invested years in honing your expertise, yet somehow along the way, no one ever taught you how to actually get clients, especially not how to use all this modern online marketing stuff. Let me make this very clear. Complicated funnels and sales processes are a complete waste of time, and I can prove it. We've consistently earned back $10 for every $1 we spend on ads. I promise it doesn't have to be hard. Check out this masterclass, blah, 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 blah. So very much is going against the grain of what all the other internet marketers are saying about setting up funnels and blogging and social media and everything else they've heard. Basically just telling them that it's all a bunch of crap and we have a better solution for you. One that gives you $10 for every dollar you put in kind of thing. Great contrarian angle here.
Yeah, I love that one. I love that. And especially because it's sort of relatable too, right? Like talking about just like that feeling of frustration. It kind of goes back to like Kevin Rogers about the block and then the dude about, again, the 40-cent raise. Like it's just, I love like those ones because it's contrarian, but there is an emotional side to it too. I mean, it's like showing the authentic, you know, it's showing the frustration and kind of like, I think, hitting on that too.
Yep. Cool. So let's look at this one. This is Sean Hadsell, another Copy Accelerator member. says avoid paleo, keto, and low carb. For people over 40, research indicates hormones are a major factor. It gives you a little link. So this is super short. The video does a lot of it. But the whole thing here is the contrarian angle of avoid paleo, avoid keto, avoid low carb, which is what everybody is talking about these days. And they basically in their course, around their sales page, talk about how it's more about hormones. And if you're over 40, that addressing the hormones with paleo, keto, and low carb is not the way to do it. So good contrarian angle there. So just to recap, we have the best ads that are proven to work over and over again. These are the zebra ads. We have the emotional stories. We have the topical news. We have the curiosity-based ones, which is just, I really have to know. And then you have the contrarian one, which is just really goes against what everyone else in your niche is saying. So that is the entire promotion for the zebra ads. You want to do like 5 minutes quick questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing that.
There's some stuff in the Q&A. I don't know if, I was looking in the chat, but let's see here. Is there someone from earlier? Somebody covered it. Yeah, Kevin Hood had asked, is there any difficulty running the diabetes ad through Facebook advertising policy of health claims? Yeah, probably, Kevin. We talked about it in the chat, but that would be that's more of an email. Justin Irvin just asked why it's called zebra ads again. Do you want to explain that one?
Yeah, so basically the idea behind zebra ads is that they stand out just like a zebra does. Most ads blend in. They don't get read. People don't click. They don't buy. Zebra ads grab your attention and they stand out, just like if you're standing outside and a zebra walk by, it's pretty damn hard to not look at it. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
Cool. Chad Fallman had asked, Gmail cuts off subject lines at 40 characters on mobile. Does this affect performance? Justin, you and I are a little different on this. I like shorter subject lines generally. I know you feel like you don't mind longer ones, but I personally don't want them to be too long. But I think Justin, I think your point is normally like you shouldn't stifle your subject line if it needs a little more length. But sometimes we see people come in and it's like a 2-line long subject line, and you're like, that's probably a lot, right? But I know you and I are different on that. Do you feel like on mobile, do you think about subject lines and how they're going to be like received on mobile when you're writing emails, Justin?
I personally don't do that just because I've tested so many subject lines and seen longer ones work that I'm not worried about. Yeah, I'm just not worried about it. I know other people have different beliefs on that, but just a lot of the data I've seen, I've had long ones work too. So
cool. Everett Fong had asked, for curiosity ads like the poop fat ad, do they need to have something mentioned on the landing page and sales page also to stay congruent? Or is it mostly to grab the attention where other content can be written in the sales landing page that also leads to the product services? So basically, does there need to be congruency? My answer is generally yes. I think if you have a really good subject line and body copy, but there's a complete disconnect, then when people get to the sale, you might have a great open rate and you might have a great click-through rate, but generally your conversion rate's going to be a lot worse. So I generally want there to be some kind of congruency between like an email creative or even an ad in general and like the actual page people are going to. Otherwise, with that disconnect, it can really hurt your conversions. So that's my take on it. Gregory Brazel asked, should we try to stack them all together? Curiosity of contrarian with emotional of topical, some mix of them. I'd say every email is going to be different, but yeah, I think the best emails will have more than one element in it, right? Like you can have a contrarian email that's also, evokes curiosity and is based on the topical component. If you can stack them together, I think that's more powerful.
By the way, one thing I want to mention real quick, if you stay to the end of this call, we're going to give you a copy of the PDF of all the ads we just shared. So stick around if you want a copy of that.
Good bribe. Should have bribed at the beginning, but we'll bribe you now. Again, a lot of responses from that now. Jamal had asked, any FTC concerns with these kinds of contrarian claims? And not really. You got to be careful. But I think the FTC is going to get mad at you for saying avoid broccoli if you're just sort of in an email creative and say, broccoli may not actually be that good. It depends what you say. If you're like, don't eat broccoli because broccoli causes cancer and vegetables are all bad and you should only eat chocolate and bacon, you might get into some issue with that. But just being contrarian is not like a legal issue or anything like that. Chris Clark. What's up, Chris Clark? Any feelings on short form versus long form text on Facebook? Video ads versus static creative? I typically like longer ads. I talked to I have a friend, my friend Alex. He's pretty high up with Facebook in their ad division or whatever. And he was talking about even with like bigger consumer brands, like when they started increasing the length of like both videos and like written ads, that typically they found that performance was significantly better for their clients. I'm talking about even both direct response marketers, but then like Dollar Shave Club is like one of his accounts and stuff like that. And he found that like the longer ads were like significantly better performance. Scrolling through. Yep, people know that someone's taking pictures of me. That's Julia, my new executive assistant. So she's the one taking photos and putting them on Instagram. I'm trying to be a better Instagrammer. I'm going through just if you see any that you want to. Can emails be too long? Is there like a happy medium for word count? Good one from David Bentley. Justin, you want to tackle that one?
I wouldn't worry about length. A lot of my best performing emails were really long. A lot of it really depends on the sales page. So if the sales page does a great job at selling, your email's not going to have to be as long. But if it doesn't sell as well, you're going to have to do more of the selling in the email. So BioTrust is a great example of this. Their sales pages are pretty clean and pretty like by the book. So they're not like huge, hard hitting, like emotional stories. So a lot of their emails are pretty long. They're like 1,000 words. But they've found that works really well for them because the email has to do a lot of the heavy lifting for the sales. So it really, like I would really say it just depends offer to offer.
Cool. Chris Sixton said, so you can use the curiosity image for contrarian ad. Totally. You can. Leo had asked, can a curiosity ad be compliant on Facebook? Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, there's no magical thing. I mean, again, Facebook doesn't want you to like make users feel like shit, make crazy claims that can't be validated, or like offend people, really. But you can still have curiosity. It could be like, there's some certain language stuff you're supposed to kind of do. Like there are some little subtle tweaks, but the short answer is that, yeah, you can totally have curiosity ads.
The one question that just came in I thought was interesting. Is there a problem using emotional story and a lot of pain on Facebook? A lot of it really depends on the niche. Like if you're in the golf niche and you're talking about some like pain story of the guy being really shitty at golf and like talking about how frustrated he is, that's not going to draw any attention or criticism from Facebook. Like if you're talking about a woman who is 70 pounds overweight, that's probably going to draw a lot more attention. So yeah, it really depends on the niche. But telling stuff within a story is usually the best way to get by Facebook's kind of issues that they have with digging into people's pain points. Because if it's your personal story, they'll usually let you say that and tell that story.
Yeah, for sure. I know Rita Brada said, how do I know if my email has that kind of potential? Is there a way to test it? I mean, if it's your own offer, then either having affiliates sending to it using your email or doing a paid drop where you rent out somebody's email list and pay them to send your email out. Justin and I can usually look at an email and have a pretty good idea of if it's going to be successful or not. But we kind of know, this isn't a bomb or not. It's not like we can, like, I've had emails that I think are just going to crush it that don't. And I've had emails that I think are mediocre, but that crush it. It's, ultimately you have to just test that kind of stuff. And that's all you can really do.
Let's say, I want to add something on that because that's so important with ads. I've run ads for probably 12 years now. And the one thing that I wish I would have known sooner is that the key to getting really good at ads is to just do a ton of them and just throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. Because it doesn't matter how good you are, you really don't know how well you can kind of have an idea of what you think is going to do well. But even like what Stefan said with emails, like I remember one time with our Patriot Power Greens offer back in the day, we needed a new email because the creatives were dying, our old email creatives. And I wrote 8 new emails for it. And there was like 5 of them in there that I thought were really good. And ended up coming back that one of them just absolutely crushed. It was just like the biggest home run we've ever had. And we had a second one that was pretty damn good. And the rest of them were all just bombs. So you never really know. If we would have only tested like 2 of those and I didn't test those 2, like we would have missed out on these huge emails that ended up working for years and years. So yeah, basically with ads, emails, all that, it really comes down to testing as much stuff as possible.
Cool. Nadim had asked, which of these Zebra ads are converting best in 2020, if any? I'd still say all of them, but I would say you can definitely pay attention to topical right now. You're going to see even more of that between now and November. Like topical stuff's going to just do really well. Jessica Baines has said, how do you know if you have crossed the line with cheesy words, promises, stories? Some of the claims, ideas are really outlandish to me. Jessica, I think the biggest thing to remember is also, though, again, testing is the short answer. But beyond that, you always have to remember that you're not your target market. So, I mean, there's sensational stuff that may seem like ridiculous or outlandish to you, but does it seem outlandish to your target market or customer? And then remember, too, I mean, because even the outlandish stuff, I've talked about this before, a lot of times people just want to be entertained. So I did like customer service for my first health-supplement company where I had some pretty outlandish VSLs, and I talked to like people. I didn't do customer service all the time, but I go on a weekend and go on the phones and I talk to people, and they'd be like, well, I know that story is just absolutely crazy, but it was really entertaining and crazy. So I was like, oh, what the heck? I'm going to try this out. So like we can give our market more credit sometimes. You know, they may know that's a little outlandish for some of these types of things, but they may still just be like bored because they're, 70 and at home and their kids are out of the house and they're divorced and they're just like watching cat videos all day. And so if you give them entertainment for an hour, and then if your copy's good, then at the end of it, they're like, well, and I might as well just try this out too. So yeah, Justin, any other questions you want to answer? Or you want to go ahead and share what we want to share here?
Yeah, let's hop into what we wanted to share. So like I said, you guys are going to get the a copy of the Zebra ads presentation that we just went over, the actual document. So you'll have those for your viewing pleasure. We'll definitely also put the replay of this up. One reason we run these webinars is leading up to our events is to promote the events. So if you guys didn't see, we have a virtual event, which means it's all on Zoom, coming up September 10th and 11th. These are for our Copy Accelerator Mastermind and Copy Accelerator Lite people, but we also sell tickets to anybody else who kind of wants to come and who fits the type of person that's a good fit for our event. So, by the way, who's listening right now is already coming to the event or who has applied to come to the event? Feel free to pop something in the chat. I'm curious how many we got.
Yeah. Several coming in hot. Applied, me, I've applied, call at 2:30. See you there. Chris Clark.
Awesome.
Yeah, can we do? Gerline, Sam Novak. What's up, Sam? Greg Brezel will be there. Ariba. Awesome. Love that.
So I'll kind of just skim over this real quick. So our event is all about getting your offer to convert and scale on cold traffic. So that's for offer owners. That's for copywriters who are writing offers and writing emails and writing ads. It's for media buyers, or if you're just like a marketer on a team. It's really a good fit for anyone that's interested in getting an offer to, like I said, convert and scale. And a lot of what we're going to be talking about. So Stefan and I are kind of the main presenters at the event. Here's a bunch of people who have been to our events. Nick Daniels, CEO of VShred, they're going to do $200 million this year. Literally one of the guys saying there's no other events like this. Kate Aseltine from Native Path. Kate just recently got the biggest win in Copy Accelerator history. Basically, I think it was like a $41 average order value boost from one tip that she learned at one of the previous events. So huge boost. Michael Roisin just crushing it. Michael was the one who had the amazing story of wasn't able to afford Christmas presents for his kids last December. Got fired from his job as a customer service rep. Somehow made it to our event in February. And Stefan came to me. He was like, yeah, Michael wants to join the mastermind. I'm like, the guy who couldn't even afford to come to the event, how's he going to join the mastermind? But he ended up joining, took a big leap. And he is now making like, 10, 12K a month as a copywriter?
Yeah.
Crushing it. Probably one of the coolest success stories I've ever had. Our buddy Ian Stanley, he's always at these events. I'll kind of skim down and show you kind of the speakers and what we got planned because this is really cool. So, night one, we usually normally have a live cocktail party. So we're going to have a Zoom cocktail party. There's going to be a bartender. There's going to be music. We're going to try to make it as real of a cocktail party as possible.
We're going to have like breakout rooms because a lot of that's for networking. So we're actually going to have like these breakout rooms where people can go and have smaller conversations, meet people, chat, all that kind of stuff.
So a couple things. I'm going to be talking about upsells at the event. By far, I would say probably the biggest thing that most offers are kind of lacking is really good upsells. It's the easiest way to increase your average order value. If you're a copywriter and you know how to write upsells, you can make a shitload of money writing upsells. Mike Geary paid me $52,000 to fix one of his upsells because I beat his old one by so much that it's probably made him hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions at this point. So if you're a copywriter, learning how to write really good upsells, highly recommend it. So we're going to talk about that. Stefan's going to be going over a bunch of stuff with offers he's written this year and showing you exactly what's making them work. We're going to do a big thing on story leads. Story leads are just crushing right now in 2020. And Stefan's going to break down a bunch of the offers that he's kind of modeling. Pretty much every new offer he puts out, just running the same model over and over again, and they just keep working
really well. By the way, Justin, real quick, Sam Novak chimed in, and it was great to see Sam. She said, P.S. Anyone on the fence, even just 2 days with these guys, can open crazy doors. I was super lucky to be in CA earlier this year through a client, working on getting back in on my own dime, and actually just hit a 20K month last month, and looking like this month will be another. So super stoked for this one. All of the stuff I learned from networking through the group, the opportunities they shared, etc. Appreciate that, Sam. And yeah, I'm super pumped for you. I know, yeah, Sam, a client had her in that she ended up moving a different direction from that client, but we're excited to have you back in, Sam. And so stoked we're excited you're coming to the event too. Can't wait to see you there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Dan Ferrari is one of the other speakers. Steph and I have basically become like huge Dan Ferrari fanboys in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I've known Dan for a few years, just hanging out at events, just super chill guy, very cool guy. He crushes in financial. He's writing some stuff in BizOp now. He wrote an amazing health offer. He's one of Steph and I's favorite copywriters. Like I said, we kind of fanboy over his copy all the time. He's going to be talking about the big idea, which is 90% of writing a really, really good promotion that can scale on cold traffic. That talk's going to be on day one. That's going to be a pretty amazing talk. One thing we do at our events is matchmaking sessions. So this is a huge hit at our Vegas event. So if you're a copywriter, we are going to pair you up with businesses looking for copy. At all of our events, the biggest direct response companies are there. So the V-Shreds, the Agoras, the Golden Hippos, Natural Health Sherpa, Primal Health. I mean, everybody who's anybody, For Patriots, Credit Secrets, all these big companies are there, and they're all looking for copywriters. So they're looking for email, they're looking for long form copy, they're looking for ads, all that stuff. And we actually have a true matchmaking session where we connect you and you'll get to talk to them. And I think we're even going to give you kind of a sheet this year that has all the people looking for jobs, and you'll be able to contact them. So you'll be able to have like conversations with them, hear what they want, and you can follow up with them and get some copy gigs.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. Yeah, so have different breakout rooms. Like we're gonna have the sheet, like Justin said. You'll get people's information, and then we'll have these breakout rooms. So the different business owners who are there looking to hire copywriters will have their own little room, and you can go in there and you'll be able to like chat with them, like video chat, have FaceTime with them, and then you'll have their information. You'll be able to like follow up with them after. You'll have their contact info. But like literally, like I could just go off on basically every freelancer who comes to our events like leaves with clients. Honestly, like it's absurd. Like people who don't even have much experience or like didn't have many clients before will leave with like 8 prospective clients and get hired by a couple of them. Like it's pretty much automatic because just by being in the room, and we'll talk about the price of the ticket, which is less than half of what our tickets normally are. We'll talk about that in a second. But like just by being in the room, it just shows that you're someone who's really serious about copywriting and direct response and freelancing and everything. So it just opens up a ton of doors, like Sam Novak mentioned, who just hit 20K for last month, about to do it again. So this networking thing's gonna be sick. Like I think we really solved it for how to do it virtually. I'm really excited for freelancers and who are trying to get clients that way.
So usually on the second day, a lot of our presentations are very tactical. So it's super, super tactical and stuff you could take home to implement. On the second day, the first presentation, we always have one really successful entrepreneur who has like a crazy good story, just do a very story-based presentation. And Emily Lark's going to do this. I've known Emily for a couple of years through my friend Mike Geary. She's got a really amazing story. So she started as a freelance copywriter. She's gone through a bunch of shit with a really serious back pain issue when she got in a car accident. She's had a stressful divorce. And now she has a a product in the back pain niche that's doing over 1,000 buyers a day. She's crushing it on every level. She's also an amazing speaker. She spoke at our one of our TNC masterminds we had 2 years ago and just crushed it. So Steph and I wanted to have her back. So she'll be speaking first part of day 2. And then Marcella, so we have a copy panel. That's going to be awesome. We got 3 A-list copywriters that are going to be talking about what they see working right now with copy. So we got Marcella Allison. Marcella was the 2018 Copywriter of the Year from AWAI. She's worked with Clayton and Dan Kennedy and all the big financial mailers and health mailers, tons of direct mail as well as online stuff. She's kind of seen it all in tons of different niches. So she's going to be on the panel. David Deutsch, who was my original copy mentor, David graciously said he's going to come and help us. David has one of the coolest stories ever, because at one point he literally had 6 controls for bottom line publishing, which was like the most in the history. And I think he was making like 7 figures a year just off the royalties from those, which was pretty badass. So Dave's going to come on and talk a little bit about what he's seeing working right now. And then we have Carlene. Carlene's probably one of the best copywriters in the health niche, I would say over the last decade. She's still crushing it. She came up under Clayton Makepeace. She was also Copywriter of the Year by AWAI a few years back. And yeah, she's written for damn near every health company there is online as well as direct mail. And she also coaches a lot of copywriters too. So that's a cool thing about all 3 of these. They all have insights into what's working now, because not only the stuff they write, but they're also coaching people as well. So they'll be able to share what they're seeing that's working.
One thing real quick on Carlene, Justin, because like you've been always way more like looped in with like kind of more of the legends of direct response. I didn't really know much about Carlene. And then I got to see her talk at one of Brian Kurtz's Titans events in Arizona. So again, I'm like, people are like, oh, Carlene. And I'm like, I know who this woman is. And then she like presented and talked. And it was like, I had anxiety because I'm like, oh, there's someone who's just like probably better than me. Like, I don't know. She was sharing so many things that I'm like, I should be doing this. I should be doing that in my copy. I mean, like it was just mind blowing. She's so smart and so talented. So is David, so is Marcel, so is everybody, but just Carlene, I wanted to share that kind of anecdotal tidbit because I had never really like seen her before and just was like really so impressed with her, man. Like Carlene is worth like the ticket alone. But then we've got all these other amazing speakers who are equally like talented and amazing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like she's not, if you don't know her name, that's not surprising. She's not a huge, like out there kind of person. Like everybody knows Clayton Makepeace and Dan Kennedy, but not as many people know Carlene, but she is an absolute badass, which is why we're having her speak. So up next we have Amber Spears. Amber really knows everything about the affiliate and email game. She actually even coaches people on how to be affiliate managers, but the big thing we're going to have her talk about is how to get more out of your affiliates, how to get your affiliates to mail more, and like how to find better affiliates. So she's going to talk a lot about driving affiliate sales, specifically from email. And she is the master at that. So I think I'm pretty interested in that one. Mike Bontempo. So Mike is actually a member of our Copy Accelerator Mastermind. He's given a talk to our group already on YouTube ads. He's crushing on YouTube for several clients. He runs traffic for clients in multiple different verticals. And yeah, they're just crushing it right now. So Mike's going to be talking about YouTube ads. I've mentioned this in a few of my emails. I mentioned it in my print newsletter if you got that. YouTube is an absolute goldmine right now. It's in that kind of like wild, wild west area that Facebook used to be in before it got super complicated and the compliance got huge. People are running stuff on YouTube that you could never get away with on Facebook and just crushing it and scaling the shit out of it. So if you're not utilizing YouTube, you're leaving a bunch of money on the table. And Mike is one of the best at YouTube. So he's going to come on and share tons of examples of what he sees working. A bunch of different ads, landing pages, targeting stuff, and all of that. So that one's going to be pretty interesting. I think that is all the speakers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's some of the surprise like people, like the stuff we're working on, like the celebrity stuff. But we'll talk about that.
Oh yeah, we got a few surprise people coming as well. So one thing Stefan mentioned, the tickets are usually $29.50 for this event. They were in Vegas, but since it's a virtual one, we're doing them for $14.50, basically like half the price. And you're still getting all the same stuff. And the cool thing is you don't have to leave your house. You can sit in your PJs and sit on your couch and watch the whole thing online. You also, as some of the bonuses, so let's say you registered today for the event, you get to be in the Copy Accelerator Lite program all the way up until the event. So the event's September 10th and 11th. So you get to be on the calls leading up to the event that we have each week. You can watch the stuff going on in the Facebook group. You can't comment on stuff in the Lite program, but you can see all the discussions going on. And you also have access to all the videos in our training stuff. So like all the past events, that means you have access to those videos. That's our Vegas event, our Austin event, which were pretty off the charts, especially the Vegas event. All of our training calls that Stefan and I have done, which have RMBC, my upsell stuff, conversion booster stuff, email stuff. You have access to all that for basically leading up until the event. So all that stuff you get as a bonus for signing up. So the sooner you sign up, the better, because you get access to that a lot longer.
Yeah, I want to show the members area once you go through the rest of this. I've got it on my screen, but I'll let you finish first. But I want people to understand the value. You want, I guess, real quick, speak to about the application process, Justin, which is if you haven't attended one of our events before, I'll actually do it. You have to apply. We're not like, even if you're pretty early on in your journey, like we're not elitist or anything like that, but we just want to make sure that it's cool people who we want in the room. I mean, the quality of the attendees, you've got so many amazing people. And so it's kind of just a vetting process to show us that you're serious about it. And you'll apply and you'll get a call off Blake from our team and make sure that it's a good fit on both sides. If you've already been to one of our events previously, there's a link on that sales letter I've been putting in the chat where you can just buy your ticket. But if you haven't been, you do need to apply. It's really worth applying and having that conversation with Blake, because we come all the time. We have people who say, oh, I think it's too early on, or maybe I'm too beginner. I mean, Gerline mentioned it, and it was crazy to me because Gerline's on Road to $1 Billion. She's doing all this stuff. She's learning RMBC. I'm like, Gerline should absolutely be at this event. And she is. She's got her thing scheduled. But I was like shocked that Gerline thought that. I'm not trying to call you out, Gerline. I was just surprised because to me, you were like, yeah, 100% you should be there. And this is how you get better, and this is how you level up, right? Like I was kind of in over my head at my first event. I was like one of the least accomplished people the first time I went to an event. And yet that was what opened all these doors and changed my life forever. So, you know, if you're somebody who's kind of on the fence, I would definitely apply. And like we said, we're going to replicate a lot of the in-person stuff, but if you're an introvert, this is an especially good one to go to because it's digital. So if you want to like, you know, go hide for a minute, it's a lot easier. You don't have to go to the bathroom, shut the stall and pretend, you know, you're pooping. You can just kind of go in the other room for a minute. So that's pretty solid. But Justin, yeah, I want to, go ahead and mention, I'll show the members area too. Do you have anything else you want to add first, Justin, before I do?
No, go ahead, man.
Okay, cool. So real quick, you gotta give me the sharing abilities, Justin, real quick here. Yeah, Girl, I mentioned it's also the most affordable right now. That's true. I mean, it's a huge difference because there's a ticket is usually $29.50 plus a hotel, plus other expenses. I mean, this is significantly the flights. This is one of the most cost-effective ways you're ever gonna be able to like attend one of our events. And like to Justin's point, right? This is the members area, which you get access to up until the event for Copy Accelerator. So this is the recordings of all of the different live trainings. So part of Copy Accelerator, we do a weekly training with our members. And we actually just did one yesterday on YouTube offers, which we had Ian Nagy, who's another YouTube expert, come on and gave us a crazy framework of how to successfully run YouTube ads. And it was like an hour plus call. So you get the recording of that. You'll see the most recent calls. Justin and I broke down a financial sales letter over 2 parts. We do open frame Q&As. And if you look at the members area as well, we have kind of a start here section, right? So it goes through RMBC and like super, like these are all trainings, like hour-long plus trainings, every single one of these videos. Stuff on upsells, which Justin's one of the best in the world at. Downsells, checkout pages and how to optimize those. And then we've got different sections on sales copy. We've done different, like I broke down a weight loss offer here. You have stuff on like subject lines, just so much different stuff. Email copy, right? You want to write better email copy. These are all hour-long plus trainings. Like Justin and I, if we ever closed on Copy Accelerator, we could take these videos and sell them for $10,000, maybe more. I don't know. I mean, it's like crazy. This is like a year and a half of just masterclass training that you get access to this entire thing leading up to the event when you buy a ticket for $14.50. And membership in Copy Accelerator, full membership is $29.50 a month, and Lite is $14.50 a month. So basically, all this stuff, conversion boosters, biggest needle movers. We have calls about the copywriting business and strategy, getting clients, open QAs. Chris Haddad came and taught about emotional storytelling. And then we have these compliance calls for people who are curious about Facebook compliance. For Tried and True is Media, which is one of the best media buying companies out there and runs on Facebook. They're training on compliance, reviewing people's copy, talking about what's compliant and what's not. You get a bunch of you get my swipe file, right? You get recordings of me breaking down the keto offer. There's so much stuff. And then you get the videos from our live Vegas event, which was $29.50. And you get the videos from the Austin event. And you've got, all the speakers who are there, Tyler Bramlett talking about how to bring in 1,500 to 3,000 new buyers a day. The Zebra Ads presentation, like a more even fuller version of that. You want to know about native advertising in Facebook? Well, Matt Harmon and Jason Kutasi were sharing what's working with it. Chris Haddad's talk. Mark and Jeff from Natural Health Sherpa giving the entire blueprint, like literally the fucking blueprint for how they went to 100 million in sales. I did 12 huge split test wins that have increased people's AOVs by $20 to $40 who watch this. There's just, whether you're a freelance copywriter or you're a business owner, like you're getting all of this. Oh yeah, and this is my first copy intensive I ever did back in the day at the Win. You're getting all of this. Plus you can be on the weekly calls moving forward. So every Tuesday up until the event. Plus you're in the Facebook group where Justin and I are providing feedback and critiquing copy. You're part of like the Facebook, the main group, and there's also a light group for members to interact. I mean, when you look at all of that and for the ticket being $14.50, I feel like you'd be crazy not to apply. I know some people, it's an investment, but it's one of the craziest investments you can think of. I say that one is $29.50 and this one's $14.50. So it's an absurd investment when you look at all of the stuff you get prior to the event and then at the event, what you're going to get from like the networking opportunities, the speakers, the actionable stuff, and this new content. Justin and I aren't recycling content. Like it's all new content. What's working up to I'll update my presentation up to the minute. I already have one. I'm doing stuff on split test, and one of our Copy Accelerator members hit me up on a headline tweak that increased their conversions by, I think it was like 30%, 40% just by one headline tweak. And then Brian Sparinello just hit me up with a tweak they made that like tripled their opt-in rate and lowered their cost per lead. And you're going to just get all this kind of stuff. So Justin, I'm going to put the application or the sales letter link back in here. But yeah, if you guys haven't applied yet and you women have not applied yet, I would do it. I mean, I don't have anything much more to say than that, but obviously I'm really stoked about it. I can't wait. It's going to be super fun. Justin, do you have anything else you want to add about the event?
No, I'm trying to get this link for the Zebra Ads presentation I want to give out to people.
Oh yeah. Sweet. That'd be great. Cool. Tim, awesome. Glad you're applying. Yeah, we're already at like, we announced this on Monday. We're at 63 applicants and we've got 23 signups already. There's people who have already gotten it. And I'm not going to give you a hardcore scarcity, but we do at a certain point. There's still logistical stuff because we're broadcasting from a studio in Austin together, Justin and I. So like, there's like T1 internet, there's like a bunch of other stuff. So we are going to have a cap at a certain point on this, like even though it's virtual, because we have to like understand our costs and all these things. So I really wouldn't put it off. I would apply now, have the call with Blake, and then, hopefully it's a good fit. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm super stoked on this. It's going to be I kind of feel like it's going to be our best event, even though it's virtual. I'm really pumped about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say one last thing I would say is like, if you got a lot out of today's webinar and training, that's very much what the event is like. Very tactical, very hard hitting stuff you can actually take home, implement. Also, you're gonna go home you're gonna be at home, but you're gonna have 10 pages of notes when the event ends. But for most people, it's like if you got 1, 2, 3 ideas out of it, it's gonna pay for itself over and over again for a long, long time.
Yeah, and Jess said, and clients, because for sure, yeah, for those of you looking for clients, I mean, it's like I said before, it's a great way to get your name out there, get your face out there. Stefan
and I were joking at the last event that being a copywriter at a Copy Accelerator event is like being an attractive woman walking onto an army base. You're just like, you're the belle of the ball.
Yeah, it's really crazy, but like because when people fill out the form and it's like, oh, why are you coming? And all these business owners are like always trying to find copywriters. I want to find copywriters. And we had them stand up at the last event. I mean, how many people stood up in that room? Like 25, 30 people who were all looking to hire copywriters. It was like an absurd amount. And we have the form, so I can tell you because I'm looking at the application forms. And then, yep, someone here, business owner, 500 plus sales a day. Another 100 to 500, 100 to 500, 500 plus, 500 plus, 100 to 500 sales a day. And all of these people, I guarantee you the vast majority of them, plus our members, are all looking to hire copywriters. Because even our members are, once you're a Copy Accelerator member, even as a freelance writer, we're posting jobs for our full members now where it's like a $10,000 VSL and none of our members are applying because like they don't have like, they're like, oh, I got too many clients. So like even our like the members who are business owners of Copy Accelerator are hiring copywriters, not just in the mastermind, but people who are attending too. So, I mean, there's just a lot of opportunity there for you if you're looking for clients too.
Yep, definitely. Cool. So let's wrap it up. Appreciate you guys sticking around with us for an hour and a half. Hope this was super helpful for you. Steph, you want to pop the link in there again?
I shall.
We're probably going to do one of these webinars each week leading up to the event. I'm not sure what topic we're going to do them on, but if you join like I said, if you join or if you buy a ticket for the event, you can be on the actual member calls each Tuesday. So big benefit of that, and you get more time to go through all those training videos that we just showed you, which are worth God knows how much money. So awesome. Thanks again, guys, for hanging around. Hope this is super helpful for you. Hope you got a bunch of ideas you're gonna be able to implement, make more money, get more customers. Stefan, anything you want to add?
No, thank you everybody for showing up. I saw several people came in and applied while we were talking. I think that's awesome and a really smart decision. Glad you did. And, thanks for being on. It was fun to share this stuff and can't wait to interact with you all more.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Thank you.